Okay, we're back in business. We are live, I hope. And this is part two of our speaker series. So I mentioned before that we had a lot of really good speakers this year. I interviewed Patrick Collison today, who's head of Stripe. That was amazing. So let me tell you about a few things we wrote about. One was The Long Game, How Corporate Culture Can Stand the Test of Time by Eric Becker. Eric, who's an incredible talent, wrote a book on companies that lasted more than 100 years. And he spoke about what it takes to last more than 100 years because, quite frankly, to last 100 years, you really have to have talent. You're going to have different CEOs, you go through wars and COVID epidemics and all sorts of things, and yet you need to survive. That means you need to have good products, but you need to have a company where the mission is clear. If you're running a hotel, Vanderbilt Hotel, you need to have the experience needs to change over time. What people expected in the 1900s is not what people expect in 2026. Just being in business a long time does not mean you're doing it correct, but you need to be changing with the times, and that indeed is very important. And again, we need to make certain in healthcare that we do the same thing, that we're constantly changing, new discoveries. We need to make sure we're treating our patients as good as possible. We had a talk by Whitney Fishman, The Art of Influence, How Data and Insight Harmonize to Transform Behavior, talking about the opportunities to do things correctly, to learn, to teach our patients, to work with our patients, to help our patients. The role of social media, which everyone uses. You watch TV, you listen to the radio, everywhere else. You need to have good messages that people relate to, and sometimes you have the wrong message, right? So you need to make certain that you're doing things right, and people often can do things wrong, right? So messaging is very important. You want to make people know that you care about them, you're working for them, and in healthcare, you're working to make their life better and healthier. So that's another one. We then looked at strategic refusal, saying no, and this is something I really liked because Steve Jobs told me that, you could do a lot of things. If you just keep saying yes, 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 you get nothing done. And he said the hardest thing is not to say yes, the hardest thing is to say no. If it's a bad idea to say no, it's easy, but you need to say no to good ideas because you only can listen to so many things. There's only so much you can do. A lot of people who accomplish nothing are working on 1,000 things, but they're running back and forth like a chicken. You can't chase every shiny object. Saying no sometimes, you're not going to make people happy, but I think people rather hear no and they look for alternatives than for you to say yes and then you're not helping them. So saying no becomes very, very important. We also had a talk on leadership about quiet quitting. One of the big things when people talk about in medicine and other jobs is quiet quitting. People still work and they come to work, but they work and do the minimum. They're unhappy. They get through the day and they go home. They accomplish the minimum. They do what they get paid for, but a little more. And quiet quitting starts from the top. You need leadership. You need leadership in tough times to make people understand that you care about them, that you're working with them, you're trying to make things right. Okay? If you're just say read more, read more, read more, read more, people are just going to quit and read less and read less and read less. So this idea about making things happen. Steve Jobs said, I'll quote from the article, Steve Jobs said there are times when you need to change leadership and start again. We may be looking at one such case. In his 2005 Stanford University graduation speech, Steve said that your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. Quiet quitting wasn't the ethos under Steve's leadership, as Apple's subsequent success has demonstrated. Again, encourage radiologists to grow and succeed. Try to help people, try to make people think about the importance of what they do, and not to focus simply on reading more and reading more RVUs. Okay? So with that, I'll stop there. Hopefully that brings you up to date a little bit. You can read a lot of the articles in JACR. We publish, it ends up being about one or more a month. And I hope everyone enjoys the articles. So we enjoy writing them. And with that, I wish everybody a great day.